Jurgen, how do you fix that chemistry, though? Because that doesn't seem something necessarily easy to come in and sort out. It's the only way of doing that with a new coach.
No, I don't see... There's no need for a new coach, because then you panic completely. And then what message should you send out there? Then you need to establish a new hierarchy within the team within a half a year, you know, which will be very, very difficult. I don't see a reason to now to panic and look for a new coach. I think, you know, there are a lot of issues to be addressed. So you gotta go. You gotta obviously, you know, fly around the places and meet the players individually or in small groups, you know, and have a lot of communication now with your leaders within that group, whoever they are. I mean, only Joachim Löw knows, you know, who's the number one guy in the team, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as Stevie knows, the hierarchy of a team is very, very important. You know, everybody needs to be on the same page there, and so this needs to be redefined. It needs to be discussed among everyone involved there in that environment. But it's a lot of work, and obviously, you know, there's not much time left. You know, in 6-7 months, you know, we enter the Euros, and they need to perform as a team, and that's what they didn't do today.
Dan, in some sense, the German Federation would have egg in their face if they were to make that decision now, because there was a big call for him to go after the debacle at the World Cup, but they stuck with him, and so they're going to have to stick with him through this European Championship, which is going to be his last dance anyway. I mean, let's be frank about it, unless they win the damn thing, which they're not going to do. So in some sense, that's another reason why they won't pull the trigger, because every man and his dog will come out and say, well, we told you to do this, you know, 2.5 years ago or whatever it was, and you didn't do it. So they're not going to make any decisions, I wouldn't imagine, until after the championships next year.
Just to bring it up, because I want to, England beat Germany 5-1 back in 2001, Stevie. Germany then made it to the World Cup final in 2002. Can you see the same sort of reaction from this result, as we were talking about trying to fix that chemistry within the group? Do you think Jurgen Löw, do you think he's got the quality of players to do that ahead of the summer?
No, I don't think so. Listen, that result you're talking about 100% came out of the blue. You know, we've been talking about Germany over the last 12 months at least, about how defensively bad they are, how they can't keep a lead, totally un-German-like, and there seems no end to it. So, listen, the Federation have to ask one question to themselves. Is this a one-off, or is this a result that has been building up? Because every time Germany have been stepping on the field recently, the back line hasn't been working, the middle of the park's been average, and they've gotten away with it because they got some talent up front. If they decide that this is just going to continue, then they have to make a quick decision. I understand what Jurgen's saying about, you know, with only, 6 months to go, it's hard to build your hierarchy and build something. But if it's going the wrong way, in 6 months, it's going to be even further away. So if they think that Jurgen's not getting a tune out the team, then they're going to have to make some tough decisions.
And of course, going into this game, as Jurgen reminded us, Germany just needed a draw to top the group. Given how poor Spain have been in some of these Nations League matches, they were exceptional today. Craig, in particular, Ferran Torres looked like a world beater.
Well, the young man's made a big move to Man City, and he's played a couple of different positions, including striker, in recent weeks because of the absence of Jesus and Aguero. So he's getting some great experience playing with some top talent at City and the Etihad. But, you know, his finish was just so calm and composed, the first one, which you've just volleyed into the side netting of the goal. Was a super finish, but he's a classy young player. He's got a little bit of everything, and clearly he's got goals in him. He's got pace, he's got clever movement. But the whole thing was driven by the midfield of Rodri and Koke. And actually, I thought it was a bonus for them when Canales of Betis went off, and the lad from Napoli, whose name escapes me, came on, the left-footed lad, because he's got great balance and poise. And I just thought that Spanish midfield were excellent. The Germans couldn't get close to them. And of course, as well, Alvaro Morata, who's had a difficult time in the last couple of moves he's made, is starting to look more like the Morata we know from 4 or 5 years ago when he was leading the line for Juventus in the Champions League final in Berlin. So all the little pieces for Spain came together in this game.
How impressed were you with Spain today, Jurgen?
No, very, very impressed. I mean, they set a very high tempo from the beginning on. Germany never could get close to them in midfield, or they never could establish a high pressing, but they usually do. And the way they created their chances was wonderful to watch. I mean, it was outstanding, but obviously also based on a very poor German performance. But you got to give them all the credit. You got to give them a huge compliment in the way they played, and they deserve those 6 goals as well.
That's it, isn't it? I suppose that's the point, Stevie, is how excited should we get about Spain's performance today, given how bad Germany were?
Listen, at the end of the day, you can only perform if you're let, and they absolutely performed big time. Want a poor performance amongst the team. Olmo, that's probably the best game I've ever seen him play. Morata looked like a proper centre forward, and Torres probably could have had 5 or 6 goals. But you have to hold back a little and suggest that, one, they were playing against a German defence that was, well, to call it a defence is actually the wrong word. And they've only scored 3 goals in the last 5 games. So I think we need to hold fire. Yes, they were fantastic on the day. Yes, they created and scored some nice goals. But the truth is, consistently, they don't create and score as many goals as they did today.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.